quick questions? Sorry? Doesn't matter.
Premier, yesterday the Lord Mayor
Yep.
had a speech. He called for 24-hour trading in Brisbane and scrapping lockout laws. What do you for the Olympics? What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, in our lockout laws are actually working. It's actually decreasing the amount of violence, alcohol-fuelled violence. But in relation to the 24/7 trading, my recollection is that during the Commonwealth Games, that was actually allowed for the duration. So, of course, as we get closer, there'll be discussions that will be held with the businesses in relation to how we'll operate during that period of time. And, of course, we'll see what happens in Paris and Los Angeles.
So you see that happening for like retail venues and licensed venues as well?
Well, it happened for the Commonwealth Games, so I think something replicating that would be okay.
And the Lord Mayor said he wasn't made aware of the deal announcement for the funding of the Olympics between you and the Prime Minister. He gave you the benefit of the doubt, saying it might have happened quicker. Why was he not told?
My understanding was he was overseas on a trade mission with all the other mayors, and this was funding that was for jointly agreed to, and it's funding between the state and the federal government, not the councils.
Premier, there's been some pretty savage criticism through the committee process this week about your youth crime laws. Many people saying they just won't work. What's your response to that?
Well, they're out there for discussion, and I think that's fantastic that people are having their say. My understanding is that the committee was meeting in Townsville, in Cairns. People can put submissions in, and of course, as I said, that the representatives of each community will be able to have their say in Parliament.
There's been some victims groups yesterday who say there needs to be more funding for people who are affected by youth crime. What are you actually doing in that space?
Yeah, look, that's something I'm giving very serious consideration to. I'm hearing very loudly and clearly that victims of crime are saying that they would like more supports, and we are absolutely taking that seriously. And there may be recommendations that come out of the committee process as well.
Previously you said you might get the Attorney General, or you would get the Attorney General to look at opening up the courts for more transparency. What's been done to open up the courts to make it more transparent?
Well, you'll have to ask the Attorney General that, but in terms of when it comes to the Children's Court, my understanding is that usually those proceedings are usually kept quiet, but you'll have to talk to the Attorney General about that.
Do you have any intention to open those up at all?
Look, she hasn't spoken to me about it, but I'll let her do some work on that.
Premier, just on pill testing.
Yes.
Premier Dan Andrews has been quite scathing of the idea this week, saying that he won't consider it. New South Wales has also ruled it out. Are you comfortable that Queensland is going alone on this controversial idea?
Look, I think you only have to talk to parents who are worried about their children, their young adults, attending these festivals, and you have to speak to the parents who've actually lost someone under these tragic circumstances. And I think if we can look at making people's lives safer, then isn't it a good thing? I think it is a good health response.
Have you always been in support of this?
Sorry?
Have you always been in support of pill testing?
I was always looking at the waiting to see the reports. My understanding is it worked well in ACT, and I think that the time is now right, and I do recognise that there are that a lot of young people are using different pills, and there is also a black market out there, and it would be a tragedy to see more young lives lost. So,
was it a factional deal to get the breach of bail through?
No, not at all. No, definitely.
Who was?
The Shadow Health Minister says vapes are too easy to access after a teenager was filmed giving one to a baby's sister. Is it something, accessibility, is it something the government's looking at cracking down on?
In relation to, my understanding is that the federal government is looking into the issue of vaping. I am very concerned that there are a lot of young people out there, even adults, that don't know what the vapes actually contain. And I think we need to have an educational process to absolutely make it clear what are the products that people are inhaling.
With breach of bail,
Yes.
you've said it's going to be effective for children because it's effective for adults. Some of those stakeholder groups said that there's more onerous conditions on children to comply with bail will lead to children being criminalised for non-criminal behaviour. Do you stand by those comments? Do you feel it will work?
Look, it's out for the committee at the moment. I'm looking forward to seeing the committee's response. And like I said, these laws will be debated, but we've heard from the community loud and clear that community safety is paramount.
Premier, when will those
Last one.
two new detention centres for youth be built? Two new-
The Deputy Premier is working out those processes at the moment, and the sites have been identified, and he'll be updating when he's got them finalised.
You've said 18 months, is that the time frame?
Sometimes they can come up earlier, so yeah, there's a lot of work happening. Yep, I can assure you that the government is working in this area.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.